Mobile ads with tiny X buttons. Mobile ads as a genre are the lowest hanging fruit imaginable for a list aggregating all of life's multitudes of annoyances. I could make a separate miniseries breaking down every little thing that makes them insufferable, but, as one particularly astute commenter on the first video observed, just trying to get rid of them when they present you an opportunity to do so is infuriating. On many ads that pop up as you're trying to use various apps, a timer will appear in the top corner of the screen indicating when the system will allow you to skip the remaining few seconds of the intrusion and get back to what you were originally doing. When the timer ends, a laughably tiny X button will appear, usually only a few pixels wide. This is deliberately made as small as possible for two reasons. Firstly, they're hoping there's a slight chance that you won't notice it due to its size, and secondly, if you don't slow down and concentrate on tapping ever so carefully inside that infinitesimal parameter of the button, you get sent to the linked web page, the app gets click revenue, and you get even more annoyed. So that's my take on ads. Zindy, what you got?
They're they're annoying as all heck. Um, I hate it when you, especially when I'm watching one of your videos that doesn't have ads on them, and I get bombarded by 15 freaking ads,
Yeah.
and you're not even getting credit for it.
Yeah, they're just so invasive and they're so obnoxious.
The
Like,
worst are
I
the
remember a time whenever Geico ads were the best ads there were. And now you don't see Geico ads anymore. We know with your respectful gecko who makes a snide remark about something. Now ads have stupid scripts. They take forever to get over with. They have obnoxious music. You can't skip them. God forbid you're watching TV because then you get like 3 minutes of program with a 15-minute ad break. Um,
I don't I don't even want to go with that because I've got Disney. I moved my Disney Plus subscription down to the lower one because they just jacked the prices up on it.
mhm.
And no lie, every 3 minutes, unless it's like a little kids show, every 3 minutes you're getting like 5 or 6 ads, and it's so annoying because you're like, look, I'm paying for this. I don't need to. I don't need to watch 1,500 ads for you to make up the extra $5 on me.
Harley, what's your opinion on ads?
Very irritating.
Very irritating. That's it. You haven't been like assassinated. You haven't been attacked by an ad as a child. You didn't like have your lunch money taken by an ad. Nothing like that.
No, I'd say had a pretty decent
I don't know.
upcoming as far as advertisements go.
Sometimes infomercials are funny.
I haven't seen an ad in a really long time because I have YouTube Premium and I don't watch television. So all I ever consume is YouTube.
Same boat.
So because I have YouTube Premium, I never see ads. Therefore, my exposure to it is limited enough where I don't have that problem. Loud noises
don't
when
run it.
somebody is asleep and you're up. Okay, we'll cover that in just a second. Being woken up in the middle of the night. Vapes are
I was
annoying.
saying-
I have a script page for that already. What's up, Cindy?
I would say I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. It doesn't matter.
Sorry.
Forgetting what you're going to say, that's annoying.
Yeah, there's a good idea. Yeah, we'll put that on the list. All right. So, what is the opinion? What is the consensus on ads? Y'all think?
Oh, I remember. I remember what I was going to say
SABCRF.
here. So, I don't know if you remember, but before the age of the internet, which I know you're old enough to remember, Rain,
I remember at the time before the internet. Yes.
you had all of those infomercials, like the Floby, you had like the Chop, the ShamWow, the Chop,
Yes, dude.
Slap Chopper, like.
Hi, Billy Mays here for OxyClean.
Exactly, but those were, I think those are less unintrusive and more entertaining than what the ads are that we get today. Some of those were actually funny,
They were
especially if you
so
ordered the product.
creative.
Especially if you got the Floby.
People tried back then. They tried to
Exactly.
make goofy ads. I mean, we went from a time like back in the 50s and the 60s. Like, if you watch old episodes of I Love Lucy with the advertisements, like the Philip Morris commercials that they would have, because back then it was legal to advertise cigarettes. Obviously, you can't do that now. But their ads were like 10 seconds long. And it was just a different time where advertising was there and you knew about the product and you got exactly what you needed to know. They told you what they thought of the product. You had the idea of, okay, maybe I should buy this. And then that was it. Let's get back to the programming. Now it's just propaganda and brainwashing that they're trying so hard and so blatantly to pull with constant overexposure. And they don't get creative with it. They don't try to be unique. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. All right, well, give me a second. I'll be over there. Yeah.
I think you can follow that. It's the same thing with the music stuff. You know, they're adding that fast paced music just so it tries to grab your attention, but it's just annoying, and then you can't get through it because you have to sit there and wait for like
Yeah.
I know it's like a whole
And,
what
and
30 seconds to a minute sometimes, and it's just
right.
like I don't want to watch this
And
crap.
that kind of loops back into what we were talking about earlier with background music. Do you want to put it in S? Do you honestly think that ads go in S, meme? Really? See, Akai, I feel like Akai kind of speaks for everybody here. He's saying F. I feel like that makes more sense. By the way, this makes no sense. Let me put ads here.
Unless you're monetizing off of it, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, unless you're trying, because people monetize off, like every ad is monetized.
Right, but if that's what you're pushing for, or if you're like sponsored, I can see that if you're sponsored. You know, like oh, this is sponsored by so and so, blah 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 blah.
I think
You're
if
shouting
it's-
out to them.
I think
And it
if-
makes sense, like if you're using the product, but if you're not actually using the product, like I've
Yeah,
seen a
if you're
number
just-
of
if you're
YouTuber
just-
creators that
yeah.
they're just like, I'm promoting this, and it's like, okay, so you're promoting Geritol, but you're like 20 years old. What, huh?
Right. Yeah, people advertise for things that they haven't actually used, so there's no reason for them to like even mention it because you can't be sure that they've experienced the product. And like Honey is a perfect example. Honey, the most recent example of people who were just pushing something because they need the money. I understand that. If I was monetized, I am monetized, but if I was sponsored, I would be pushing the sponsor. But I would at least try the thing to make sure that I'm pushing a product that's good. Like
Right.
I had a company a while back trying to get me to sell jeans for them. And it's like, well, I've never worn your jeans, so I really can't advertise that. But I think everybody would agree that ads go in F. I think everybody agrees that there's nobody's competing that except for Meme Boo, who wants it in S for some reason. All right, everybody that suggested something, say your suggestions again. Akai, if I see another like racist suggestion or sexist suggestion, I'm timing you out for 10 minutes. Do not post some 4chan shit on the screen. But for good suggestions that I can actually put both on Twitch and on YouTube, repeat them so that I have them back fresh in my mind so that we can start going through them. Because ads, we've covered ads. Now what's next? What was something else that people said? Being woken up. Somebody said earlier being woken up. MacBooks. I don't have any experience with MacBooks.
They're rotten fruit. End.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, ads are on there, and then being woken up in the middle of the night. Zindy, what is your experience with being woken up in the middle of the night?
Not happening.
Yeah.
I sleep like a.
You sleep like a log.
I could sleep through a freaking truck going through a nitroglycerin plant.
Okay.
Wake me up.
I've never encountered a sleeping truck, but I'll take your word for it.
Well, no, not a sleeping truck, but the truck going through the nitroglycerin plant, the explosions and all that.
Harley, how you been sleeping lately?
I sleep through anything. I sleep very hard, and usually if I get woken up, I'm still half asleep, so I just go back to bed very easily.
Okay.
I'm usually the cause of waking people up if I don't have my machine on because I snore really loud.
I also snore very loud.
So
No kidding,
I'll sleep.
especially on a motorcycle. You're sleeping on motorcycles, Michael? I'm sorry, Zindy, what were you saying?
I don't know.
Jesus, take the handlebars.
Oh, are we back to that one? We don't know what we're talking about.
We're gonna put that on the list in a second. So being woken up is something that I don't really have to deal with because I'm living by myself. But back whenever I was living with my parents and my sisters, I really didn't get woken up by anything because we all went to bed around the same time, so nobody really woke each other up. But like if somebody went to the fridge or something to that effect, it was usually you get woken up for a couple seconds, but it's just my family, you know. It's not like somebody just barged into my house, which by the way is coming up on this tier list in just a second.
Speaking of unwanted ads, I'm getting a ton of them on your Twitch channel.
Oh, for goodness sake, why? Why are
I don't
ads
know.
on my Twitch channel?
I don't know, but Prime's trying to tell me that I need something with keys.
Okay. But probably the goofiest time that I ever woke my mother up and she was slightly annoyed, but not really, was I was sleepwalking. I used to sleepwalk a lot as a kid, and I woke up one night standing with my head in the freezer, and my mother standing behind me. And I was like, what the heck? What am I doing? What are you doing? And my mother told me that she had heard something bump in the kitchen, so she got up to check what it was, and she said that I was standing in front of the freezer with it open, holding an empty cup. And she asked me, like, what are you doing? And I said I needed some ice. And she's like, "What do you need ice for?" And she said, she said that I said because my cup was dry. My cup was dry, so I needed more ice. And she's like, "What? Your cup is dry. Why don't you want some water instead?" And she said that I gave her this look of confusion. I guess as I realized that what I said didn't make any sense, and then I woke up and my head fell into the freezer. And so I picked myself back up like, what the heck is going on? So I confused myself enough that I woke myself back up. That's the one experience that I have with like that I can remember of being woken up, because the times that I've been woken up by a loud noise or something, oh, I woke up one night because I heard a revolver click behind my head. Have I told y'all the story?
What?
No.
So I was living in the apartment. It's about 3 o'clock. I have work in like 2 hours. And I wake up because I heard somebody walking on the hardwood floor in my bedroom in high heel shoes. And there was this deep woman's voice that brought me out of my sleep in the most terrifying manner possible. I'll never forget it. She said, "Well, if it isn't the humans." And
What?
then the revolver clicked. I woke up and I brought my arm around because I'm gonna die. I'm about to get blasted in the back of the head by a very sultry sounding woman in high heel shoes with a revolver. So I brought my arm around as I'm getting, and I hit my phone because my phone was playing a video.
Oh my goodness.
Markiplier,
Not on YouTube. That doesn't sound like a YouTube video.
Markiplier made a interactive movie called In Space with Markiplier. And in this movie, there is a scene where a alien dressed like Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil is like a customs agent or something. And she is mad because the humans have come to the Interstellar Customs Agency. And so she comes around the corner with her wide hat pulled low, and she has a revolver, and she says, "Well, if it isn't the humans," clicks the hammer back. And that, he was doing a documentary on the making of In Space with Markiplier, and that auto-played because whenever I first laid down, I had a video by Lord Minion 777 playing because, again, I'm sedatophobic. I have to have background noise in order to become comfortable enough to sleep. So I had a Gang Beasts video playing with Lord Minion 777, his playthrough of that game. I had that playing, and it auto-played because Lord Minion 777 is very heavily associated with Markiplier. And so it's like, oh, well, he likes Markiplier, obviously. Otherwise, he wouldn't be watching Wade. Which is wrong. Wade's videos carry their own merit. But he had this video about making that scene. And so they played a section of audio from that scene, and that's what I heard. And that's what woke me up as I thought I was about to die in my apartment. So yeah, being woken up by loud noises, you know what? I'll knock that down a rank myself just because. But also not specifically because I want to cover up the white error from earlier. What are y'all's opinions on being woken up? I know you both said that you really didn't have that much experience with it, and whenever you do, you get back to sleep easily. You fine with a B ranking?
I would say A or B.
Yeah, not really a problem with me.
Anybody disagree with that? Speak now or forever hold my biscuits.
Well, I mean, actually, I've woken myself up numerous times by snoring, and that's pretty annoying.
Ew.
But then again, I just fall right back asleep.
Different category, Harley. Different category.
Lunch is over. Great show. Animals crossing the road while you're riding a motorcycle. Oh, I do have that on this list in just a second. Appreciate you for stopping by, Michael. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I got one.
What?
Not using punctuation. Because that just read like a total bunch of words just mashed together. If you don't punctuate.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and leave that in B. Now, because it was mentioned, and because I'm looking at it, the existence of deer. Now, I'm not one to call for the complete extinction of a species. That's not what I'm here to do. I do firmly believe in the supremacy of humanity above all other forms of life, and that anything we do to influence our world should benefit us expressly. I want you to think for a moment about what purpose deer serve. Shouldn't take you very long at all, because the list of things that they do benefit could be written on the head of a needle with an industrial paint roller. They are entirely useless animals. They are not predatory animals upon which we depend to keep other species in check. They aren't prey for really much of anything besides us. and all they do is destroy two things: crops and vehicles. My mother, my father, my sister, and both sets of my grandparents have had very expensive repairs done to their vehicles after deer ran out in front of them, and my previous truck was totaled after one came barreling out of the woods in front of me one morning on the way to work. And the stupid animal didn't even have insurance. All they do is ruin things. Ask any farmer what hinders his work and eats his profits, and deer will be right up there on the list alongside drought and weevils. Now you might be thinking, oh, but there's some sweet little innocent creatures just trying to eat and flick their little tails. And sadly, you won't understand just how awful they are until your car is totaled, sitting on top of an innocent little creature that's 3 inches tall and 11 feet long now. Put them all in wildlife preserves so that the subset of people who get off to hunting them can keep huddling in camo blinds and swatting mosquitoes, and the rest of us can focus on the more common and pressing threat of the road, each other. So that's my opinion of deer.
I'm like middle of the road with them because before we did have cars and, I mean, not farms, but cars, they pretty much were a food source for us. Still are for a major part of people in the Appalachia, like where they can't get access, where they actually hunt and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And they don't get to the store to get beef or whatever. It's also good for people who have like heart conditions or something because it's just so low in fat. It's better for you than the other stuff. So eating wise, I there's a positive for me. But as far as them being stupid and just staring at you and not moving out of the way,
right?
Yeah, they're about as useless. They're about as useful as a freaking squirrel is.
Yeah.
At least the squirrel darts back and forth before it decides that it's not going to go anywhere.
The squirrels aren't much better.
But they're not going to ruin your car either. I mean, unless they get in your wiring and they start chewing and putting a nest in there.
Yeah, if they get under the hood. My father was trying to crank up my granny's old Ford, like from the 60s. She had a blue Ford truck sitting under a garage for years, and whenever my father tried to get it back running, a squirrel had built a nest up under the hood and just completely destroyed half the engine.
I know.
It was very upsetting.
With deer, I know in some parts of the country, it's not in all, obviously probably not down south, but more north in the winter times, like if they get hit by cars or whatever, some people will go out and harvest them and give the food to like homeless shelters and stuff like that, or food banks. Mm-hmm. And in that sense, it makes sense. But like I said, you're destroying a car for that. So
yeah, would you agree with me in saying that they should not just be allowed to run free and cross roads and destroy people's cars whenever they feel like destroying someone's car?
If that was controllable, I'd say yes. But the unfortunate part is it's not controllable. Because they breed like freaking rabbits.
Welcome back.
Hello.
I'm going to post in general so that I can actually rip the picture of the front of my truck after it met the very unfortunate deer that was standing in the middle of the road.
I'd put them right next to weevils.
You might as well.
They're friends.
I would have
These
to
are
move,
weevils.
I would have to move.
They're friends in the cornfield.
I would have to move weevils to a much, 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 much worse ranking in order to allow that to happen. But I can see. Good Lord, that's a big truck. So yeah, that's my that's what happened to me. That's why I hate deer, because I loved that truck. So I don't care what anybody says about this one. Except Harley, do you have anything that would make it would somehow convince me to put it below F tier?
I've never hit an animal before. I've come close, but my car is pretty light and has good brakes, so it just kind of doesn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah, the most I've hit is a squirrel.
All right, so yeah,
I have hit a squirrel before. Poor thing.
The scent is called Musk, and no, not Elon. Okay. GTA 6 delays. Okay. We'll get into that too. Gosh, y'all are giving me a lot of stuff. Keep hammering out ideas whenever you have them. Keep hammering them out. Because this list, it's an exhaustive list on everything that's annoying in life. So this list is going to wind up taking me longer than I have available in my lifetime. My 40 years that I have left, whenever you consider the vast scope and possibility of every human experience. Yeah, it was kind of a dumb idea for me to set forth on this trail because it's going to take the rest of my life to cover.